Have you ever noticed that some people seem to have money following them around like a loyal puppy? No matter what happens, they always seem okay. A business fails. Somehow they're fine. The economy gets weird. They're still calm. Everyone else is panicking. They're eating lunch like it's a normal Tuesday. And you look at them and think, what's going on here? Do they know some secret? Did they find a treasure map? Did a rich uncle appear out of nowhere? Well, probably not. According to Carl Jung, many of the things that shape our lives happen beneath the surface. Deep patterns, hidden habits, small behaviors we repeat so often we don't even notice them anymore. And here's the funny thing. Some people stay broke while making a lot of money. Other people slowly become wealthy while never talking about money all day. Strange, right? That's because wealth isn't always about what you earn. Sometimes it's about what you repeatedly do without realizing it. Today, we're diving into 7 habits that quietly keep people rich. And trust me, some of these habits look so ordinary you might think, that's it. But that's exactly why they're powerful. Because most people are looking for magic tricks. Rich people are often doing boring things over and over. And somehow those boring things keep producing amazing results. As we go through these habits, I want you to be honest. Which one do you already do? And which one made you suddenly say, oh, that's why my wallet keeps disappearing? If you've ever bought something online at 2 a.m. and then wondered who possessed you, you're in the right place. Let's jump into habit number 1. Habit number 1. They don't need to impress everybody. Now this one is funny, because we all know somebody who treats every purchase like an Olympic event. New phone, new shoes, new watch, new sunglasses, new everything. They walk into the room looking like they just signed a $1 billion contract. Meanwhile, their bank account is sitting in a corner crying. We've all seen it. Maybe we've been it. No judgment. Life happens. But one thing wealthy people often learn is that impressing strangers is an expensive hobby. Think about it. How many things do people buy just to hear someone say, wow? The problem, that wow lasts about 6 seconds. Then everybody goes back to thinking about themselves. A wealthy mindset understands something important. Attention is temporary. Financial peace lasts longer. There was a man in one neighborhood who drove an old car for years. Nothing fancy, no flashy upgrades, no dramatic entrance. People assumed he wasn't doing very well. Then one day somebody found out he owned multiple properties. The same people who laughed at his car suddenly became financial detectives. Wait, what? The funny part? He never cared. He wasn't trying to win a popularity contest. He was building freedom. And that's the difference. Many people spend money to look rich. Quietly wealthy people spend money to become rich. Huge difference. Carl Jung often spoke about the masks people wear, the personas we create, the image we want others to see. And sometimes that image becomes very expensive. Because every month you're paying to maintain a character. You're financing a performance. You're renting an identity. And that's exhausting. You know what's funny? The richest person in a room is often not the loudest. They're usually the calm one. The person who doesn't need everyone to notice them. The person who doesn't feel pressure to prove anything. Because confidence is cheaper than showing off. Let's make this practical. Imagine 2 friends. One buys the newest gadget every time one appears. Every single time. The company releases version 52.7. He's first in line. Version 52.8 comes out 3 weeks later. He's back again. Meanwhile, his friend keeps using things until they actually need replacing. Guess who quietly keeps more money? Exactly. Now this doesn't mean never enjoying life. Please enjoy your life. Buy things you love. Eat good food. Take vacations. Nobody is saying live like a cave explorer. The difference is motivation. Are you buying because you truly want it, or because you're hoping somebody else will be impressed? That's where everything changes. Because wealthy people often stop asking, "What will people think?" and start asking, "Will future me be happy I did this?" Future you is actually very smart. Current you sometimes wants pizza, shoes, gadgets, a vacation, and a pet llama all at the same time. Future you is usually the responsible one. And here's a challenge. The next time you're about to buy something, ask yourself one simple question. If nobody ever saw this, would I still want it? Ooh, that question hits differently because sometimes the answer is yes, and that's fine, but sometimes the answer is actually no. And just like that, you save yourself money. Rich habits often begin with tiny moments exactly like this, not giant dramatic decisions, tiny choices, tiny awareness, tiny self-control, and over time those tiny moments become massive results. Now here's where things get even more interesting, because the second habit is something almost nobody talks about, and honestly, it might be the habit that creates more wealth than almost anything else. Now let's get into habit number 2. This one sounds simple. Too simple. In fact, some people hear it and immediately underestimate it. But don't, because this habit quietly changes everything. Habit number 2. They become friends with delayed gratification, or in normal human language. They can wait. I know, not exciting, not flashy, not dramatic, but wow, is it powerful. Most people want rewards now, right now, immediately, yesterday if possible. We live in a world where food arrives in minutes. Movies appear instantly. Packages show up at the door before we even remember ordering them. Everything is fast, so naturally people start expecting wealth to work the same way. But wealth is stubborn. Wealth loves patience. There was a guy who planted a mango tree in his backyard. Every morning he'd walk outside and stare at it. Nothing. A week later, nothing. A month later, still nothing. If he treated investing like that tree, he'd probably quit. Most people do. They start something, don't see results, get frustrated, quit. Then start something else. Repeat forever. Meanwhile, patient people keep watering the tree, and one day everybody else looks over and says, "Wow, you're lucky." Lucky? No. Patient. Big difference. Think about the gym. Nobody does one push-up and suddenly becomes a superhero. Imagine walking into a gym, doing 3 squats, looking in the mirror, then screaming, "Where are my muscles?" Everyone would laugh. But people do this with money all the time. The wealthy mindset understands something. Small actions repeated consistently create giant outcomes. Not exciting, not sexy, but very effective. Jung believed that much of life is shaped by patterns, and patient people understand patterns better than most. They're not obsessed with today's result. They're focused on where today's action leads. And honestly, that mindset alone separates a lot of people financially, because while everyone else is chasing shortcuts, they're building something that lasts. Now let's move to habit number 3. This one might surprise you. Habit number 3. They stay curious rich. People don't know everything. Actually, many of them spend their lives admitting they don't know everything. And that's exactly why they keep growing. Have you ever met someone who already knows everything? Don't point fingers. You know the type. You suggest an idea. They already know. You share information. They already know. You explain something. They definitely already know. Meanwhile, their life hasn't improved in 10 years. Funny how that works. Curiosity is one of the most profitable habits on earth, because every opportunity starts with a question. Every business starts with curiosity. Every skill starts with curiosity. Every improvement starts with curiosity. What happens if I learn this? What if I try that? What if there's a better way? Those questions open doors. There was a woman who spent years learning small skills online. Nothing dramatic, just curiosity, marketing, writing, communication, technology, little by little. People laughed. Years later, companies were paying her for skills they ignored. Funny how that happens. The people who stay curious often discover opportunities before everyone else notices them, while others are scrolling endlessly. They're learning, not because they're smarter, because they're curious. And curiosity has a way of turning ordinary people into extraordinary ones. Now, habit number 4, and this one is honestly hilarious. Habit number 4, they don't turn every problem into a Netflix drama. You know those people. One tiny inconvenience happens. Suddenly it's the season finale. The music starts playing. The tears arrive. The speeches begin. The world is ending. The coffee machine broke. That's it. Civilization has collapsed. Meanwhile, wealthy thinkers approach problems differently. Not perfectly. Not emotionally dead. Just differently. They ask, okay, what's the solution? That's it. A problem appears. They start looking for exits. Most people stay focused on the problem. Wealthy people start searching for answers. Imagine 2 people get a flat tire. One spends 2 hours complaining. The other spends 10 minutes fixing it. Guess who gets home first? Simple. Problems aren't expensive. Staying stuck in them often is. And this habit creates an incredible advantage, because life will always throw surprises at everybody. The difference is how long you decide to live inside the problem. Now let's talk about habit number 5. And honestly, this one might be my favorite. Habit number 5. They value relationships more than appearances. Here's something people discover too late. Opportunities often travel through people, not through luck, not through magic, through people. The person who recommends you, the person who trusts you, the person who remembers you, the person who opens a door. Relationships matter a lot, but many people spend years trying to look successful instead of becoming valuable. Big mistake. The wealthy mindset focuses on connection, helping others, keeping promises, being reliable, showing respect, being someone people enjoy working with, because trust compounds, just like money. A man once lost a business opportunity. A friend introduced him to someone else. That introduction led to another opportunity, then another, then another. Years later, his entire career existed because he treated people well, not because he had the fanciest clothes, not because he drove the nicest car, because people trusted him. Never underestimate the value of a good reputation. It can open doors money can't. Now, habit number 6. This one is sneaky. Habit number 6. They control their emotions better than their circumstances. Notice I didn't say perfectly. Nobody is perfect. Everybody gets angry. Everybody gets frustrated. Everybody gets stressed. Everybody has moments. Even the rich guy yelling at his printer. Especially the rich guy yelling at his printer. But successful people often recover faster. That's the difference. They don't let one bad day become a bad month. One mistake become a disaster. One setback become an identity. Jung spent a lot of time exploring self-awareness, understanding what's happening inside your own mind. And that's powerful, because when you understand your emotions, they stop driving the car, you start driving, and honestly, that's a superpower. A person who stays calm while everyone panics often sees opportunities nobody else can see. While everyone is running in circles, they're thinking clearly, and clear thinking creates better decisions. Now let's get to the final habit. Habit number 7, and this one quietly connects all the others. Habit number 7, they focus on becoming better, not looking better. This might be the biggest difference of all. Most people want quick results. Wealthy thinkers focus on becoming the kind of person who naturally creates results. That's different, very different. One mindset asks, how can I look successful? The other asks, how can I become more capable? One chases appearances, the other builds skills. One wants the trophy, the other becomes the person who earns trophies repeatedly, and that's where real wealth often begins. Because money comes and goes, skills stay, knowledge stays, discipline stays, character stays, growth stays, and those things continue producing value year after year. Think about it. The people who keep succeeding aren't usually relying on one lucky moment. They're relying on who they've become. That's the secret. Not a trick, not a shortcut, not a mysterious formula hidden in a mountain somewhere. Just daily habits. Tiny choices, repeated over and over, until they become part of your identity. So let's quickly recap. They don't need to impress everyone. They practice patience. They stay curious. They solve problems instead of living inside them. They build strong relationships. They manage their emotions. And they focus on becoming better. Simple habits, but powerful ones. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these habits do you already have? And which one challenged you the most? Drop it in the comments. And be honest, we're all learning here. Even the person watching this while pretending to work. Yes, you. Your boss almost caught you. I saw that. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you subscribe and join us for more psychology, self-growth, and life lessons inspired by Carl Jung. And remember, the richest people aren't always the ones with the biggest bank accounts. Sometimes they're the people who have mastered themselves. And once you start doing that, everything else begins to change. I'll see you in the next video.